still waiting for his new deal. Talked about, Tay, what is going on with those negotiations?
Good conversations are going. I will say that. Call it negotiations, whatever conversations. A lot of good things are going on there. So a lot of confidence. Once again, as I said, anytime I feel like I've talked about it, I've got confidence in my guys, these guys getting something done.
Welcome back to The Insiders, presented by Harbor Freight. Tom Pelissero, Judy Batista, joined now by our friend Jane Slater. Jane, I feel a little bit bad because I want to say I made a wisecrack like 3-4 months ago on the show about, hey, you know, hopefully in the not-too-distant future, we're not just talking about Dak and the contract and CD and the contract. Here we are. It's August 16th. We're 23 days out from their opener. Still talking about the same subjects. Let's start on Dak. What do we know as of now about where things stand in terms of the negotiations and also that ankle that has been popping up here in recent weeks?
Yeah, ankle not an issue for those that are worried. I mean, some of the concern about that ankle, of course, began this summer when he was spotted going on a fishing trip in a walking boot. So, you know, this is a veteran that knows
start of the regular season, or else have Dak basically turn his attention as we bring back Jane Slater to the regular season. Jane, it does sound like there have been actual negotiations. There have been more than conversations here. Dak certainly painting this as going the right direction. So you were saying about the state of negotiations.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, to borrow a term from Jerry Jones, we're used to sort of the ambiguity as it relates around here. Zach Martin, look at his deal. It took him 3 weeks to get that one deal done. And then I'll never forget Ezekiel Elliott. Remember, they just kept saying he doesn't deserve this, you know, the money that was out there at the time for running back. And then they paid him. Literally, he got signed a week before the season started. And I anticipate that this thing will be equally close for both of them. I would say that I anticipated that CeeDee Lamb would likely get his deal done. And then you had CD. We've heard through Calvin Watkins, one of my colleagues at Dallas Morning News, that the Cowboys at least talked to CeeDee Lamb in his camp and offered him a deal just around the $33 million mark. That would put him above A.J. Brown, a little bit below Jefferson. And then with Dak, you had him this week say the conversations were going good. In fact, I had one person take it a little bit further and say that they were on the same page. So what that page is in the book, I don't know. But for fans who get frustrated with the Cowboys, Tom and Judy, it does sound that they're at least trying to get both of these guys under contract to make them feel good about the future. But I still think it's a very good possibility that Dak could say, look, I am set to get paid the highest number of, you know, for the quarterbacks out there. I'm going to play this one out, not dissimilar from what Kirk Cousins did. So I still think that that one's up in the air still, even though he characterized it as being good conversations. He made it very clear he wants to be in Dallas. I just think the Cowboys have to figure out a way. How are we going to pay these two players that are going to take up so much of the money here as it relates to the cap space and the roster and get this thing done?
Well, if Dak goes to free agency, you can cue us up for the next 8 months of talking about Dak and his potential contract situation going into free agency. Let's flip over to the defense very quickly, Jane. Trayvon Diggs returned to the practice field, maybe not for the game this week, but certainly this is going to be, especially if Davante Adams plays, a really good test for that Dallas secondary.
Absolutely. I mean, last year you saw the way the secondary stepped up in the absence of Trayvon Diggs, who's injured himself in the ACL very early in the season. So just seeing him out at practice, he already had a huge grab against the scrimmage with the Rams, got people really, really excited. But I talked to multiple people today. He will not be playing in this game against the Raiders. Why would you? Mike McCarthy, unlike the Las Vegas Raiders, who have said that they're going to roll out anybody who's healthy this week, he doesn't need anybody else to get hurt. I mean, even this week, we saw Deron Bland and we saw Brandon Cooks collide during a pass play. They ended up going to the medical tent. Little soreness in their knee, but thankfully they were fine. They lost Sam Williams here at camp. They also this week, they lost another offensive lineman. He went back to Dallas. He gave him some depth. He's getting surgery. And so they are being cautious with the way they manage these guys, but very good opportunity for some of these young guys still trying to prove themselves to Mike Zimmer as they start making roster cuts, how they can hold up against a guy like Davante Adams.
Jane, for the record, we would never pull the plug on you when you're talking about Dallas Cowboys news. Jerry might have when you're talking about the Dak contract. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying don't really know entirely what happened right there. Thank you very much. Look forward to talking with you again soon. Cowboys. And we welcome in our Omar Ruiz to talk more on that situation. Omar, this Raiders offense, a lot of different questions that they've got. Certainly the quarterback is the biggest one as we head into 2024. But what else are they trying to figure out right now on that side of the ball?
Well, no matter who plays quarterback, the tight end will be featured prominently in that offense because of the presence of Brock Bowers and their second-round pick last year, Michael Mayer. A lot of talk about how Harrison Bryant has had an impactful training camp coming over as a free agent from the Cleveland Browns. And I asked tight ends coach Luke Steckel, because of that talent in the tight end room, do they tweak the playbook? Do they call more plays with 12 personnel? And he told me when they were installing the offense, they had everybody learn the base concepts. But because of the confidence in the talent that they have in the tight end room, in the versatility that group has, they had them learn a little more of the receiver concepts than they might normally with the tight end group. And that means that will allow them to call similar plays, whether they have one tight end on the field, two tight ends, or three tight ends, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, or 13 personnel. As far as Brock Bowers is concerned.
Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Hôm nay là một ngày không đẹp trời cho lắm, nhưng mình vẫn tiếp tục gửi tặng đến các bạn những tác phẩm thật là đẹp và tuyệt vời. Và mình mong rằng các bạn xem video của mình thì hãy ấn like và đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình, để mình tiếp tục lấy động lực ra video. Mình xin chân thành cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều. Bây giờ mời các bạn cùng theo dõi quá trình mình tạo ra video của mình nhé. Xin mời.